Good morning. Good morning to all the third BCom General and Computer students. Today we are going to learn about a few types of banks. Nearly 14 different types of banks are existing in India. In these 14 types of banks, few banks are mentioned here. The first and the foremost thing is contemporary banks. You are able to see contemporary banks. So what are contemporary banks? Please concentrate. Contemporary banks mainly are of three types. One is Women's Bank, next one is Microfinance, and the third one is a Payments Bank. I repeat, under contemporary banks, Women's Bank is one, Microfinance is a secondary one, and Payments Bank is a third one, which comes under a group of banks called as contemporary banks. So, first and the foremost bank is Women's Bank. So, Women's Bank, Bharatiya Mahila Bank was the first women's bank which started in India under the leadership of, under the thing of contemporary banks. So, Bharatiya Mahila Bank currently merged with SBI on 1st April 2017. Presently, there is no Bharatiya Mahila Bank existing. Why it is not existing now? Because it is merged, means it has been mixed with SBI. Which date? 1st April 2017. So actually when this Bharatiya Mahila Bank started in India, you are able to see the first national bank for women owned by the government of India. Okay, started on November 19th, 2013. Former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh inaugurated the operation in New Delhi to commemorate the 96th birth anniversary of former Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi. Although initially reported as exclusively, this bank is exclusively for the women and the bank for women. When it came into existence, it came into existence on November 19th, 2013. Who inaugurated this bank is Dr. Manmohan Singh inaugurated this bank. Next, objectives of Bharatiya Mahila Bank. If you see the objectives and listen the objectives of this Bharatiya Mahila Bank are, the first and the foremost thing is funding for skill development to help economic activity of women. Many women in India are talented. Some are highly qualified, some are skilled, some are semi-skilled, some are unskilled also. But the women are the first reason here for the development of the country, which is leading to one of the economic activity of women. So assistance to women customers to promote their asset ownership. Main first point what he want to tell is he want to encourage the talent, hidden talent in women. The first point, what is the objective explaining about us is, it is telling that women should be encouraged. Why women should be encouraged? Because she is having the talent to do any type of activity. So this talent should be encouraged or guided with finance. That is the reason he is telling us funding for skill development to economic activity of women. When you come for the second point, assistance to women customers to promote their asset ownership. Second point, what is telling? Asset ownership. If they have any assets, in order to become the owner of this particular assets, finance should be provided. A small example I'll be giving you. They may have a own house and they want to start a baby care or a child care center. So they have the asset. What they need here, they need the finance. Okay, they also need the people who are going to help in her activity. So that type of assistance. Focus on banking needs of women and promote economic empowerment. Focus on banking needs. What woman needs? How much finance she needs? Okay, what is the reason she needs this cash? She is also taking the finance and starting the business, which it is helping to develop herself, as well as it is also leading to the employment of nearly 10 to 5 women or 5 to 10 women. Means she is able to generate the employment. Okay, she is able to do one economic activity along with the employment as well as a self development. So by this, what is happening? She is becoming the encouragement or the power for development of the women. Example for the development of the women: locally mobilize women and impart entrepreneurship skills. What is entrepreneurship skills? Managerial skills. How to manage the business, how to handle the business, how to plan up, what should be the coordination, what should be the understanding, what is mutual understanding, okay, how to invest in this business, from where we can get the capital. Qualities are encouraged, comes under entrepreneurship skills. Locally mobilize women and impart. So it means this banking or this Bharatiya Mahila Bank is standing as a milestone, we can say, or one strong immunity for the development of the women. That is these are the main objectives for the development of the women. Next, merge with the State Bank of India. As part of Modi's government banking reforms, the Bharatiya Mahila Bank launched in 2013 and merged with SBI. In which year it started? 2013 it started as a single bank, as a solo bank on November 19th, but became joined SBI on April 1st, 2017. Clear? When it joined with SBI, what was the capital with this Bharatiya Mahila Bank? Was 2000 crores was the capital with which it joined with SBI. Next, when you come for Payments Bank, these banks are registered as a public limited company under Companies Act 2013. Licensed under Section 22 of Indian Banking Regulation Act 1949. Which banks are registered and licensed? Payments banks are licensed under Section 22 of Indian Banking Regulation Act 1949. They can issue ATM and debit cards also. Who can issue? These payments bank can issue ATMs and debit cards. These banks have registered as a public limited, as a government company under Companies Act of 2013. Payments Bank under Section 22. Clear? What is Payment Bank? The question now. These are new striped down type of banks. What are these banks? These are new striped down type of banks which are expected to reach customers mainly through their mobile phones rather than traditional banking branches. You are able to see the mobile banking, you are able to see e-banking, net banking. So part of this payment bank only. These are the facilities which are provided by payment bank to all the public or to all the customers on their mobiles. Okay. Next, they are allowed to undertake only certain restricted banking functions that banking according to Banking Regulation Act of 1949, but they don't have the unlimited functions, they have the limited functions. Clear? In recent changes, what are the recent changes in this payment bank? If you see, on 19th August 2015, the Reserve Bank of India gave in principle license to 11 entities to launch payment bank. These are 11 entities are given by RBI to this bank to provide the services to the people. Okay, what are that services? National Security Depository Limit, Reliance Industries, Aditya Birla Nova, Airtel M-Commerce, okay, Department of Post, Feno Paytech, Tech Mahindra, Vodafone, okay, Cholamandalam Bank, that is Paytm, etc. Some of the services, payments banks are doing these services along with these banks licensed. These banks are having the opportunity to provide this type of facilities, means the facilities of the mobile, the facilities through e-banking and net banking to its customers. So when it has been launched, this program has been launched on 19th August 2015 with the approval of RBI. Next, birth of the concept. Why this concept has been started? If you see, the payment bank came into existence as a result of Nochkote More Committee, officially known as Committee on Comprehensive Financial Services for Small Business and Low Income Household, formed by the RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan on 23rd September 2013. It is one of the officially decided meeting for helping small business people who are not able to reach to the bank, and where the branch banking system is not existing in these rural areas or in the village areas. For these people, these banking facilities can help. This committee had submitted its report in January 2014 and recommended, among the other things, setting up of a small bank and payment bank. So with the request of Rangarajan or Raghuram Rajan, this concept of payment bank came into existence. So features of the payment bank. If you see the features of the payment bank, okay, who can promote and how do they earn? Prepaid cards issuers, telecom companies, NBFCs, business correspondents, supermarket, chain corporates, reality sector, okay, COPs and PSs, public sector and companies. Who can promote these services? These are the companies who can promote this payment bank services. How do they earn? RBI allows these banks to invest 75% in government security, 25% in other banks, charged 1 or 2% on normal cash transfer, no risk for losses on NPS, placed on volume by attached million of customers. So if this payment banks should do the services, means what is the rule from RBI? With the RBI, they are keeping some funds. How they are keeping? 75% of the cash is kept, fund is kept with the government, 25% is kept with the other banks. So for every transaction, how much they can deduct? 1 or 2% they can charge. You are able to get the point here. In this way, these people are earning 1 or 2% on each transaction. Benefits they offer: service charges will come down, no cap to maintain minimum balance, RBI rate cut benefit, payment bank may make handling cash a lot easier. Because if you just carry a debit card or credit card while traveling, it's going to be very easy for the people in order to escape from robbery. Okay, easy carrying of the cash for a long distance is also one of the advantage or the benefit of this payment bank. RBI rate cut benefit. Okay, rate of interest is going to be very less, that is 1 to 2% only. Maintenance, no need to maintain some balance here. Service charges also will come down from the banks. Small finance banks, if you come for small finance banks, banks which provide basic banking financial services to unreserved unreserved and underserved sections of the society. Banks which provide basic banking facilities, services to unreserved and underserved sections of the society comes under small financial banks. For small farmers, micro and small industries also, these banks are lending the finance. They are registered under section 22 of Banking Regulation Act 1949. Even payments banks also registered under section 22 of Payment Banking Regulation Act of 1949. Introduction. So introduction, if you go for, RBI has piloted the idea of payment and small banks, so which are extending the services to millions of the people, millions of the population who are under unorganized sector, encouraging the alliances for starting payment banks. Objective of the payment bank is an increasing financial inclusion by providing small saving accounts, So these are also coming under the payments banks which are doing the services. So payments banks, once again if you come for, so such entities will be allowed to hold up to rupees 1 lakh per individual customer initially, will not be allowed to accept deposits from the non-residential Indians. Payment banks are not taking the deposits from non-residential Indians, will not be permitted to issue credit cards and offer loans. They are not issuing credit cards. Who are not issuing credit cards? Payments banks are not issuing credit cards, and often they are not also giving the loans. These banks are not having the right to give the loans, or they are not having the right to give the credit cards. They also does not accept the loans from the non-resident Indians, will not be allowed to set up subsidiaries to undertake non-banking financial services. Non-banking financial services also they are providing. So major people who are taking the responsibility of this payment bank is Reliance, you can see here, Airtel, Future Group, Videocon, Aditya, these people are taking the responsibility. And when you come for the private banks, in banking sector there are 13 old private banks and 9 new generation private banks. How many private banks are there? 13 old private banks are there, 9 new generation private banks are there. The private banks are the new pioneers in the information technology, investment, and introducing new concepts like Sunday banking and anytime banking also. Sunday banking means 24 hours you are able to see. 24 into 7 we are calling it as, because of this private banks only this point come into existence. Development banks, you see, agricultural banks also comes under development banks, industrial banks also comes under development banks, even the payment banks also comes under development banks, and Bharatiya Mahila Bank also comes under development bank. So each and every bank is having its own importance in lending the finance to various categories of the societies which are existing in the market, which are existing in the country. So all these banks also comes in the development banks. A development bank is a multi-purpose institution which provides medium long term credits to industries, investment projects, preparation of the project, reports, managerial services to the industries as well as for the agriculture people also. So development banks are lending the finance for any type of purpose, multi-purpose institution it is. It is also providing for medium, it is also providing for long term, it is also providing for the proper project preparation, managerial services, industrial development, agricultural development also. Next, foreign banks, if you come for, there are 31 foreign banks with 182 branches operating in India at the end of March 2009. Almost all the foreign banks operating in India are multinational foreign banks. I repeat, how many banks, foreign banks are there in India is 31 foreign banks related with India, 182 branches operating in India by March 2009. The foreign banks hold 8% of the total commercial banks assets in India. These banks operate mainly in trade centers, cater needs of big customers. The profitability of these banks is higher than Indian banks. You can see the last point what is telling is the profit earned by these foreign banks is more than that of other banks which are existing in India. So foreign banks, development banks, private banks are also the banks which are helping the agricultural, private sector, industrial sector, okay, financial sector also. You're able to get the point here. So National Housing Bank, one more different types of bank. Introducing to housing finance, it refers to the finance that is provided to individuals or group of individuals, including cooperative societies, for purchase, build house or houses. Housing finance refers to the finance for meeting the various needs related to housing, purchase of land, acquisition of flat, construction of house, extension of a house. So the finance which you are taking, the amount what you are taking under this National Housing Finance can be used for purchasing the land or acquisition of the flat, construction of the house or extension of the house or any renovation on the land. In the introduction of this National Housing Bank, if you see, the National Housing Bank was set up on July 9th. When this National Housing Bank came is July 9th, 1988 under the National Housing Bank Act 1987 as the apex level institution for housing finance to promote the housing financial institutions both local as well as a regional level also. And these banks are owned by RBI, contributed, and entire paid up capital is contributed by RBI only, and it is helping for sound and healthy housing finance system through effective regulation and supervision of this finance. Healthy, strong, with the transparency, without any frauds. Okay, it should be reachable to all the people, all the variety sectors of the people. So, National Bank, Housing Bank came into existence on July 9th, 1988. Okay, under the Housing Bank Act of 1987. So, objectives of this national bank, if you hear, it promotes healthy, sound, variable and cost effective housing finance system for all the needs of the population, especially for the housing facilities. To promote network to the housing facilitated institutions adequately serve various regions and different income groups. To make housing credit more affordable at the less rate of interest, very less reasonable rate of interest, it want to lend the finance to all the sectors of the housing finance people, as well as to regulate the activities of housing finance companies based on regulatory and supervisory authority derived under the Act. To encourage all the people buy their materials, housing stock, etc. with the emergency agencies. Okay, functions of NHB, you see, promote and development function, regulatory functions and financing functions. Three different types of functions are there for National Housing Bank. One is promotion function, next one is a regulatory function, and the last one is a financing function. Conclusion: housing financial sector is developing day by day, and all the people are utilizing this housing finance. Nearly 44.33% of the loans are provided economically to weaker section and low income groups. So, under this housing finance group, 44.33% of the people are getting the loans. Which people are getting? Weaker sections and low income people are getting the finance to renovate, construct their houses. So, it is occupying a good place and which is maintaining a healthy relation at the affordable interest rate to all the sectors of the people, regulating and providing the finance. Clear? So, in the today's class, we discussed about contemporary banks. Contemporary banks are of three types: Women's Bank, Payments Bank and Small Finance. Okay, next one is private banks, development banks, foreign banks as well as National Housing Finance. So, I request all the students to concentrate on the classes what we are teaching, because we are not going to repeat this once again. Clear? Please stay safe, stay at home and be healthy. Thank you, students.